Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make this absolutely amazing creamy pasta. You can by all means add chicken or bacon or meat to this, but I did make it vegetarian today. I will also link the video down below that inspired this one. It's from Laura and I make this all the time. I'm in love. So like usual, I don't really actually measure anything, so I just used half a bag of baby spinach, approximately this half a bag of rigatoni pasta, and I ended up putting two vegetable stock cubes in my pasta water. I also used some lactose free cream cheese, approximately half a block, some sun-dried tomato strips that are in the oil, which is important, some of these always fresh fire roasted peppers, obviously salt, pepper, some garlic, and some shallot onions, and I use the amount that is here. To start off with, I got my nice chopping board out and I chopped up the shallots finely, or as finely as you would like. If you want to substitute this for a normal onion, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. If you were using meat though, I would cook and sear the meat first before you do any of the vegetables, but I was not using meat today, so that is why I just started with this. And eventually I did have to keep walking away because these shallots were so strong, but they were amazing. So cut them however you like, and then I also went back over to the pan and I ended up putting a bit of oil from the sun-dried tomatoes in there first. That's why I always buy the sun-dried tomatoes in oil. I use the oil as well, so you use it for marinades and salad dressings. It's amazing. I actually ended up putting the shallots into the oil while it was still cold, so the flavor could actually completely infuse through the oil. And you will see I don't add any extra herbs because the sun-dried tomatoes had enough herbs in them that I found I didn't need to actually add any more. So once the shallots were about half to 3/4 of the way cooked, I then just added in some of the sun-dried tomatoes. Not all of the ones I had because I'm not a huge fan of sun-dried tomatoes, but I like a little bit. So stirred them around, let them cook down. Honestly, the longer you put sun-dried tomatoes, the longer you let them cook, the more plump they become. I'm not someone who can just eat them straight out the jar. While it was cooking though, I was watching an ASMR video because, I'd had a stressful day and I was just wanting to calm down. So that's what my phone is doing. I thought it was out of the frame. I apologize. But while the shallots and sun-dried tomatoes are cooking, I was chopping up my garlic, and it looks like I'm doing it so slow here, but this was literally at like 20 times. So obviously I was working really slow. So obviously chopped up all the garlic. You can grate it if you want. Just remember, if you grate garlic, it comes out a lot stronger and a lot more almost spicy. So if you grate garlic as opposed to chop it or crush it, you will actually only need 1, maybe 2 cloves because it's a lot stronger that way. And I also did took off the oil residue from the pepper strips. I did buy the whole ones accidentally, but they do sell these ones already cut into strips, which I'd recommend more, but I didn't realize and grabbed the wrong jar, which is fine because, I just cut them up. I'm fine like that. And you'll see some black pieces on them. That's because they have been charred and like fire roasted. They're so good. So I went back over to my pan, added the strips, the capsicum strips, and some garlic, and I just cooked it and stirred it around until the garlic really started to actually cook down and infuse. You do not want your garlic to burn. Do not have this at the highest temperature ever because your garlic will burn. Garlic burns very quickly and very easily, and when it burns it becomes very, very bitter. So do not burn your garlic. Again, after a few minutes, I just gave a really good amount of pepper ground over the top because I love pepper. You'll also see in the top right or the bottom right corner of this frame that my water for my pasta is starting to boil. So that is why, and the water looks a bit cloudy because I've added the stock to it as well. So I only put a tiny bit of salt because I'm not a fan of salt. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a fan of salt. I just don't like it. Now's the time I added my pasta to the water in the back with 2 stock cubes. I use my fresh homemade stock or my homemade stock for other things, but I always buy some salt reduced stock cubes and put it in my pasta water every time. Added the spinach to the pan, stir it around. As we all know, spinach wilts down to nothing. Honestly, I could have used a whole bag of spinach, but I had already been using the spinach for something else. I have made like a cold salad version of this too, which is amazing. This would also be really good as like a cob loaf filling as well. If you cut everything up much finer and added like triple the amount of stuff, you could make this as a cob loaf filling as well. So I stirred it around. You can see the spinach is starting to wilt down. A lot of the oil's been absorbed by everything. Again, the temperature is not as high as it goes. Once you've added the garlic, you really do not want to have the temperature super high. I had it on roughly medium anyway, but I did turn it quite down. My stove works by numbers, so I'm pretty sure this was on about a 3, and I'm pretty sure it goes up to a 9. So it's probably about, yeah, a third of the way. And then I just moved everything to one side of the pan and added my cream cheese. My stove, or my entire floor in my house in general, is really uneven. So for some reason, only half of my frying pans are on the heat, which really sucks. And these pans are only new, so it's not the pan that's the problem. So I cut the cream cheese into small pieces. This literally, as soon as I came in and walked in the door from work, I took the cream cheese out of the fridge to soften it because this is lactose-free cream cheese, but this was not the spreadable one, so you have to let this come to room temp to soften. Otherwise, it will take forever to melt. So then I was using some of the starchy pasta water, which first off is very hot. Obviously it's boiling, so it will help soften the cream cheese as well. Plus the starch in it will help aid the pasta sauce. It will allow it to cling to the pasta even more. You see here, eventually once it melted enough, I got out a whisk because I just had to use that to really get rid of all the clumps. And then I added a little bit more pasta water, just a tiny bit. I think overall I added maybe 3/4 of a cup. Again, I don't really measure it. I've made this so many times, I don't really need to measure it. I just eyeball it and then stir it around. As you can see, the color is not completely white. That's because my sauce has flavor. And then I just tip the pasta in, stir it around. I have also added hot pepper flakes before, and whoops, dropped some pieces on the floor. It's okay, 2-second rule. I'm the only person eating this anyway, and I promised my floor was clean. But I have also made this and added some chili flakes while the sauce is first cooking, and that was amazing. I've also added mushrooms before, which I will say mushrooms does change the flavor quite a bit, but this is my favorite way to do it. And then last but not least, I am just plating it up. I make a mess. My saucepan is a mess. You should see my stove. I am not a neat and tidy cook. I make a huge mess all the time. But yes, plating it up. You can see how hot it is. Like, it is steaming. It is beautiful. I also sometimes will grate Parmesan into the sauce before I serve it. But I didn't have any today. And there we go.